I'm SP from the GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is part of the GonnaGeek.com network. Just like the show you're checking out now, shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other amazing geek shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
This episode of the IntelleXual podcast is brought to you by Next Gen Automotive. Visit nextgenautomotive.com to find the most amazing face mask that you can wear during the pandemic. We here at the IntelleXual use these masks ourselves, and we can't recommend them highly enough. They're incredibly comfortable, very easy to clean, and they come with HEPA filters that are replaceable. They're easy to speak through, and you can do your part to protect those around you with a face mask from nextgenautomotive.com.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The IntelleXual podcast starts now.
Hey, welcome to the IntelleXual podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson. I'm here today with my beautiful co-host,
Whitney Wegman-Wood.
We're a little rusty. Although we did just do WhoCon,
We did.
And that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I felt really rusty getting that off the ground.
Well, I mean, you know, we've been in quarantine and not talking to a whole lot of human beings very often. So
COVID.
Yeah, it's weird. I think the entirety of the next couple of years is going to be a lot of awkward interactions because you also have children who have been out of school and not interacting with their peers for months on end. People are going to get weirder than they already are.
Well, certainly I have a very low threshold to get to weirder. So
You and me both. I live and breathe awkward.
But, speaking of weird, it is election season.
Uh-huh.
A very strange election season.
True enough.
Regardless of which side of the fence you sit on, we can all be in agreement that this is a very strange election season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know about you, but I have my concerns about how things are going to go.
Yeah. Anxieties, concerns, all of the above.
Yeah, as if we didn't have enough anxieties. Thank you, 2020.
Right.
Can we just cancel 2020 now? Like, is that
No. The whole cancel culture thing is like an easy out. Let's why don't we put in a little work and, ensure that things will go smoothly.
Okay. Well, that's the perfect segue to bringing on our two guests, Tay and Chase, to talk about TrekThe.Vote.
Absolutely.
So let's talk to those ladies. Here we go.
Let's talk to them.
Hello? I can barely see you. Let me just clear up this Conaton interference. Ah, there you are. Listen, I wish we could catch up for a moment, but we really don't have much time. The crew and I need your help.
There's been an outbreak of novel coronavirus on Earth. Starfleet is monitoring troubling disruptions in many key systems, including the smooth functioning of democracy itself.
It is of paramount importance to the Federation that the election scheduled to take place on November 3rd be fair and equitable.
Unfortunately, many of the organizations that normally make elections run smoothly are rather short-handed this year.
And there are those without honor who may try to prevent certain groups of citizens from voting through intimidation or by other means.
If there's one thing I've learned from being around these Federation types all these years, it's the importance of every eligible vote being counted.
That's why Starfleet and our allies have been asked to activate at least 16,000 members across the United States to participate in nonpartisan activities, from poll watching to voter outreach, before, during, and after November 3rd.
And we need your help. So navigate to TrekThe.Vote.com and provide Starfleet Command with some basic details with your availability for service.
You'll get a custom mission briefing back in just a few minutes.
The future depends on what we do in the next few weeks, and we need all the help we can get.
I know I can count on you.
I'm Ira Stephen Bear. and I approve this message.
Okay, so Whitney and I yesterday for SD were chatting with Chase about Pop Culture Hero Coalition, and then Chase contacted me afterwards and said, "Hey, can we get Tay on the show to talk about TrekThe.Vote?" So here we are. Tay, Chase, welcome to the Intellectual.
Thanks for having us.
Let's get into it. It's election season. The craziest election season I've ever seen. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah.
I think it's an important topic for us to cover. So
yeah,
for sure. Tay, take it away.
Okay. So I'm here to talk about TrekThe.Vote for Fair Elections, which is a nonpartisan network of Star Trek fans and actors and creators, and we are all working together on election integrity. So our goal, when I say nonpartisan, right, we're not advocating for any candidates, we're not raising money for any candidates. What we're here to do is get people to volunteer in various roles to help protect the integrity of this election. So we have several partners who all offer different missions, right? Different Starfleet missions, and you can sign up for a personalized Starfleet mission briefing at TrekThe.Vote, and you'll get a mission briefing email in just a few minutes, and then you can decide from there what kinds of activities are going to work best for you. But it's really about kind of being a one-stop shop for opportunities for Star Trek fans.
That's very cool.
And now what type of opportunities would those include?
I mean, everything from, so we've got two partners who are doing basically poll worker sign up. So you connect with them and they will fit you in with your local elections manager. And then they will help you become a professional poll worker. And that's really crucial this year in particular because of COVID. Most of the people who are traditionally poll workers are older. And so they're at increased risk of complications from COVID. And so there are a lot of people who normally work the polls who are saying, not this year. And so if we don't have people to replace them, polling places will be closed. That will create longer lines at other polling places. And so it's going to create a suppression effect. It'll have a chilling effect on voting. So we have Power the Polls and the Poll Hero Project. Power the Polls is working with everybody. Poll Hero Project is specifically youth-oriented, and it's youth helping youth. So if you are under 25 and you decide you want to work inside of a polling station, you'll be connected with the Poll Hero Project. If you're over 25, you'll be connected with Power the Polls. We are also working with Fair Count, which is looking at anti-voter suppression efforts and nonpartisan get out the vote throughout the South and the Southwest. And then we're also working with the Election Protection Coalition, 1-866-OUR-VOTE, which, by the way, if you are having trouble voting, you can call 1-866-OUR-VOTE, and their experts are standing by to help you figure out your rights. They have opportunities, everything from monitoring online chatter to look for disinformation and work with special teams at the social media companies to get it taken down, all the way to, having a route where you're assigned 3 or 4 polling places in your local area, and you are on a circuit all night through all of those polling places, looking for signs of voter intimidation, checking to make sure that there's proper signage, that they have enough PPE, reporting if the lines are too long, back to, a central sort of processing facility where they use that information to help people come up with alternate plan to vote if the line is too long, those kinds of things. They have a team that is reaching out to people who have been displaced by wildfires or hurricanes to make sure that they get their ballots, to make sure that they know where their polling place is. So there's just a lot of different opportunities that are available. And that's one of the nice things about TrekThe.Vote is it's one place you can go and say, these are the things that I'm interested in, and then we'll tell you which opportunities are going to work for you.
That sounds great. I mean, at least there's a lot of options, because I know like some people, are a little gun shy about going out with COVID, no matter what your age is. So it's good to know that there's other options. If somebody were to see that the line is excessively long, do you guys send out like a text message to potential voters in that area where it's like, hey, this polling station has a really long wait. here's another option for you?
I would defer that question to, so I don't know exactly what election protection does. I imagine that it varies greatly by state and by local laws, right? Because like I
every
imagine,
locality has their
every
laws.
locality,
for how
and
they
it's right. Our elections are a patchwork, and so I think it really depends on the specific situation what they would tell folks to do.
Yeah, because I guess in some states, like you have to go to that specific spot, and you don't have an option for dropping off anywhere else.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. How did TrekThe.Vote come to be? Like,
well,
what
I was
brought you to creating this?
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who works on, issues related to voter suppression and intimidation. And she, she's also a Trekkie, and we were sort of lamenting and saying, God, I wish Starfleet could just beam down and like make this better. And then we thought, hey, wait a minute, we save us. So we are Starfleet. And I'm an organizer, and I'm relatively well connected. And so I reached out to a bunch of people that I knew who knew different orgs and started talking to all these different organizations. And then I was like, okay, now I need to get some Trek actors on board. And I was connected with Chase by a mutual friend. And before I knew it, we had Chase was like the recruiting machine. Like we brought in like half of the people that are in that video.
Yeah, be careful getting Chase excited about anything.
Yes,
she's
I
a
have
force to be reckoned with, man.
Oh my God.
Only when it's a phenomenal project like this. And, honestly, I have to say the honor is mine, Tay, to be working with you and on such a powerful initiative. I think during COVID, a lot of us have felt helpless in various ways. And during this whole election cycle, there is a potential for us to feel powerless. And yet here we have a phenomenal ability to make a difference.
Yeah.
You don't know if you are going to be the person that catches something really awful happening on election day. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that we can all stand together on is that our votes count, and that our votes and our presence can make a difference. And this is such a Starfleet opportunity. Starfleet does not stand by for injustice. Starfleet would get involved. Starfleet doesn't go alone. Starfleet will bring a friend and say, I am standing for justice. And that's all this is. It's nonpartisan, and we just want to have the American people's voices heard.
Yeah, that is spot on. And to make sure that, people who are eligible to vote can vote safely and easily, and that those votes are validated and counted before any results are announced. Right. That part is really important. We are, Americans are used to getting our results on election night, and that's just not going to happen this year. And we need to make sure that everybody understands that is not going to happen this year because of COVID, because of all of the mail-in voting, because many state laws require the states can't even begin counting ballots until after the polls closed. So it is going to take it's going to take time for us to understand the outcome of this election. We have to be patient, and we have to be like the human equivalent of a noble gas, right? Not combustible. Let's try to keep things nonviolent. Let's try to keep things respectful. And let's try to really have patience for the process and to offer the professionals that do this for a living, that are so scrupulous and careful and ethical, the chance to just do their jobs unimpeded.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because this is the first time in my entire life where I've actually worried about what's happening in a U.S. election from is it safe? Is it going to be protected? Is it going to be reliable standpoint? And unfortunately, the threat's not coming necessarily from the places I would have ever expected it to either, So, yeah. But it is every American citizen's duty to protect our elections. And I think it's incredibly cool, this idea of using kind of that Starfleet spirit, if you will, to kind of rally the troops and bring people out to do what I think should be a natural civic duty, which is make sure the integrity of our elections, can be relied upon. And I think it's fantastic what you're doing here. And I think it's amazing that so many Trek veterans jumped in. The video you have showing so much support for it just kind of blew my mind when I looked at it. I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And I thought about it and I was like, of course, Star Trek, everybody who's involved in Star Trek is incredibly intelligent and fair and believe in the message of Star Trek, which is, we all work best when we work together, So of course we're going to jump in and help out. I think it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and everyone was so much fun to work with, which was really a treat for me as a fan to get to have that.
Well, and Tay, I had a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chase. Oh, well, I just had a quick question. You were saying that, you have all these professionals. Obviously, you have a ton of folks who joined on board from the entertainment industry, from Star Trek. But do you guys have, lawyers who are involved for being able to go in depth with these different election laws? Because I know I was listening to NPR the other day, and I can't remember which state it was, but some state just changed their election laws midway into the election, and they now need signatures for mail-in ballots, like a witness. And so they're debating on whether all the people who already sent everything in, if their votes are even going to get counted, because, well, that was before when they didn't need to have a signature from a witness. So do you have people on the team addressing issues like that?
Well, so TrekThe.Vote for Fair Elections is a clearinghouse for volunteers. Our partner organizations absolutely have lawyers working on that. We do have some lawyers who volunteer with TrekThe.Vote for Fair Elections, but their function is more about helping us navigate the relationships with the partners, the relationships with the actors, just making sure that everybody's role clarity is there. But in terms of election law, we do have some advice on election law, but it's mostly about we can't coordinate with campaigns and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I would refer that. The 1866 Our Vote, the Election Protection Coalition, those folks would have more information about that. And if anybody who is impacted by that law wants to get a sense of what their options are, that is a good number to call.
Okay, so you guys are associated with other people who have outreaches to these specific issues.
Yes.
That's great.
And our partners are doing that. Actually, I always list our 4 launch partners, but I keep forgetting. We've added a partner, which is Georgia Voting Works. So they have professional. So we have partners that are hiring professional poll workers. They're hiring professional voting machine technicians. So if you are somebody who's technically minded, who's comfortable with tablets and technology, then you can, and you live in the state of Georgia, or you're willing to travel to the state of Georgia, you can help set up and operate a voting machine, a bank of voting machines at a Georgia polling station.
Oh, sign me up for that one. I'll do that.
Yeah, go ahead. You can if you go on the TrekThe.Vote site and say you want to work inside a polling place, you will get that option.
Well, okay, so I found it really interesting when you were talking earlier about being able to go and pick out misinformation on social media. I do that anyway. I find stuff and I'm like, let me fact check this. Oh, this was incorrect. Let me give you 20 sources. What exactly does that entail, to your knowledge? Is it people just fact checking? Is it fact checking?
No, so there's specialized software that they're using, and it's monitoring public posts on social media. And it is not just someone posting something that's not accurate. It is when someone is intentionally posting something that is intended to make someone not know where they vote. For example, the last election cycle, there was a leaflet that went out that told people they could text their vote, and it was all in Spanish. And so it was specifically targeting Latinx communities and Spanish-speaking communities, and they were, it was targeted at suppressing those votes by convincing people that they could vote a way that's not doable at this juncture. And so it's that kind of thing. It's flagging that, and when someone who's volunteering with the Election Protection Coalition flags that as disinformation, it's actually submitted to a special team at the social media company directly that's able to take it down very quickly. So they're working in tandem with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all of these different social media companies to get that content removed fast.
So in that specific instance, did they ever find out who was spreading this information or where it originated from?
I do not remember where that flyer came from. I'd have to go back and kind of look. But, it can be from anybody, a foreign bad actor. It can be from somebody who is invested in the outcome of the election and isn't behaving in a particularly scrupulous fashion. There's a lot of different places that could be coming from.
Chase is back.
Hi, I'm back. I was having some major vocal interference, sound tech noises.
Uh-oh.
Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm not sure what I missed, but I do want to chime in that late last month, I decided, because people were discussing it, to just to make sure that I was still registered to vote. And for some reason, I was not. Now, I've been voting in every election since I can remember. And for some reason, I was bounced off the rolls. So I would encourage everyone out there, no matter who you are, no matter when you last voted, to make sure that you're registered. I was absolutely terrified and mortified when I saw that happened to me, wondering how many other people that it could happen to. I'd also just like to say, in terms of fair election work, if you're voting, and please, Tay, you know so much more about this than I, but if you're voting on a voting machine, make sure that when you press submit, that your answers are the answers that you meant to have. I have friends in Texas that whose votes were changed before they pressed submit, and it's just extremely important that we not allow voting machine hacking or anything like that any more than is already very likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's hard to know how widespread that is. There are enough stories about that kind of thing to know it's not anecdotal, and we do know that people's names are being purged from the rolls for a variety of reasons. Many of them just pretexts. So I think so. One thing you can do, there's actually at TrekThe.Vote. There's a whole voter toolkit section where you can check your registration. You can if you aren't registered, you can re-register. You can find your polling place. You can request a mail-in ballot, and you can find out what will be on your ballot. So if you go to our voter toolkit section on the website, you can find it all there, and you can find out what's going to be on your ballot, and that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, Chase, I'm really sorry that happened to you. That's not okay, and it must have felt really, kind of violating. I would feel violated by that.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Extremely. And again, I only checked on a whim. I was thinking, well, this is going to be a waste of time because of course I'm registered. To find out that I wasn't was maddening.
Yeah.
But equally maddening.
My dad taught me to check every year.
Yeah. Equally maddening is if you don't go to the polls or send in your ballot or deposit it in a ballot box. Our voices are so important. I know you know that. It is absolutely crucial that we all make a stand. And Tay made a great point in the last podcast that we did, and I don't know if you'd said this earlier while I was off, Tay, but we're here because this matters, and it's also incredibly fun.
Yeah.
To know, right? Justice is fun, and making a difference is fun. There's an incredible energy when you are working for something that that matters, when you have purpose. And research shows that, studies show that, but most of all, I hope you can see that our faces and our hearts show that.
Right.
Tay is an incredible hero, but I also know that Tay has a lot of fun and gets a lot of energy from this. And I know that because I do. You can do that too. And think how it will be if there is an outcome that you work for, which is really a fair election is what we're working for. Think how powerful you will feel knowing that you were a part of that. And think how you may feel if things don't go in a good direction and you could have made a difference and didn't. We know we're asking a very limited amount of time from each person in a very crucial period of time. And it's really exciting to be able to get with like-minded people and do something so powerful as this.
And you can wear your uniform while you're doing it. So,
Whitney's ready.
although we do ask that, Klingons and Bajorans and Ferengi go to Starfleet Medical and have their appearances surgically altered to appear human. It really cannot alarm people. This is a pre-warp society.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think anyone's ready for Klingons at the polling place. But if you want to wear your Starfleet uniform and represent, you're quite welcome to do so.
Or your t-shirts just to find like-minded people, or your geek sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's great that you're getting people together to protect the integrity of our elections. But to some of the things Chase was saying, I think it's important that as citizens, we are reminded how precious and rare our democracy is in the history of man. It's something we take for granted these days. And the kind of lethargy in the last number of elections in the voter turnout, I think, is really unsettling to me, and maybe a little bit of an explanation on why things are where they are, right? We can't grow complacent in these incredibly special tools that we've been given to kind of guide where our government is. We have not had that opportunity as human beings for most of the run. And we can lose it if we're not careful. And I think it's important that people come out to vote. I think it's important that they come out and help maintain the integrity of these elections. And I hope that this year we see a really great turnout. And I hope that people who are volunteering and participating in protecting what we're doing are allowed to do that, and that things go smoothly. I hope and pray that they go smoothly.
Well, and we are a big part of making it go smoothly. We are that guiding force, right? We are Starfleet, and we are here to make it go smoothly. And I wanna also mention that we have, we're looking at post-election as well. So TrekThe.Vote for fair elections doesn't end on election night. TrekThe.Vote for fair elections ends when all of the votes have been counted. And we can't stop until then. We can't stop until we have a clear, legitimate sense of who won this election at every level, right? This isn't just about the White House. This is about Senate and the House. This is about governor's mansions. It's about state.
There's a lot on the line.
Right?
It's
There's
not
a lot
just the
on
presidency.
the line. Yeah. Exactly. And we have to be diligent and scrupulous about getting all those ballots counted. And I think that's partly, too, where a nonpartisan coalition that is based in a fandom that centers a moral compass is really powerful, right? If we can come together and say, we are all across the political spectrum, we're Trekkies and we're Starfleet first, and we're here to apply the prime directive to this election, right? Self-determination. That is the key.
Yeah.
And I really just want to hammer this point home. We will not know on election night. We just will not know on election night. We have to get used to that, and we have to be emotionally ready to move to defend our democracy. If there are attempts by any party to try to stop ballots from being counted.
Right. I think the population's getting used to the idea that we don't know on election night, because that's happened a few times now in the last 20 years.
Yep.
Yep. But I think it won't be anything we've seen before in terms of the contention from certain places for a quick return. So, yeah, but it'll be up to the population to say, no, we need to relax, and we need to make sure that this is done right. It's done well, and there's no question behind what the results are. It's up to us.
Right. I want to encourage people to think about, for example, what will you do if the elections manager, the people who are professionally responsible for elections in your area, are doxxed and threatened and harassed? What will be your response to that? I don't have a prescription for you. You have to use your discernment. Think about that, right? What will you do if if there is a violent response to nonviolent protest? And how will you respond to that? And how will you respond, if you are asked to go and nonviolently protest? And just think that through in advance. Be ready, because when we're all adrenalized and worked up and freaked out, that's a hard time to make those decisions. So think about what you want to do ahead of time.
Yeah, it's disaster preparedness.
Have
a game plan in place. Know where your exits are. Know what your strategy is, and things will go a lot smoother.
Yeah,
'cause when we respond out of emotion, we oftentimes don't do things as well as we should.
Absolutely. Having our emotion regulation tools in place, being able to self-soothe, being able to show ourselves self-compassion, all of those things are so important right now and can really make a difference.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, it's easy to feel alone. Like, well, if I, do this and I show up, what will it be like? But all of us have a friend or two that we can contact and say, hey, let's do this together. And that will both increase our numbers and help to embolden us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how much? Oh, please go ahead.
Please go ahead. Sorry.
No, don't. I talked over you. These meetings, these little talking bubble screens. It's so hard to know when to talk. I'm bad at that anyway, but but I was just gonna say, how fun is it to go do something with a friend, especially a fellow Trekkie, and wear your uniforms together and go be at the polls together in your uniforms. And if people ask you, be like, we're from Starfleet. Hi, I'm from the United Federation of Planets. How may I help?
That should be enough to diffuse a lot of situations.
Exactly.
And for those of you who aren't Trekkies out there, frankly, we've been trying to get a hold of the 501st. I think somebody said they're going to put us in touch there. I think was that?
That's me. I'm working on it.
Yeah. I mean, look, your fandom is part of your power.
Right.
And if it's you getting together with other Star Wars fans or Harry Potter fans, look, we've all seen the lines at Comic-Con.
Yeah, if you could mobilize the 501st to just stand watch.
Can you imagine if we get as excited about real life justice and about our futures as human beings, if we get as excited about that as the people in the Hall H line get about seeing the next trailer for the next big blockbuster? Guys, there's so much power here. There's so much power in fandom. And look at the way Tay lights up when she talks about it and the way I light up. I mean, we work hard, but it's not all martyrdom at all. It's fun. I really hope you'll come on board and experience that for yourselves. There's a lot of community here, a lot of power.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely signing up. So you want me to do that.
Huzzah!
Good.
I have a feeling Whitney might do it too.
I'll go hang out with David and be Trekkies together.
Nice.
Excellent.
Send us pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. You can count on that. Social media geeks. Yeah.
Hooray.
All right.
So, any final thoughts that you want to share? Just get up, get out, go do the thing, right?
Yep. Go do the thing. TrekThe.Vote.
Awesome.
Hashtag us. Send us your photos. We want to know that you're out there and support you in supporting justice.
Perfect.
Live long
Thank
and
you, ladies.
Thank you.
We
Much
really
love, guys.
appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, David and Whitney.
Yeah.
Thank you
for having us. We appreciate you.
Kudos, Tay.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.